Hey ladies, Sierra Sullivan, Pussy Oracle here with another episode of Pussy Magic and Musings. Wow, I have so much to share with you. This may have to be a couple part series. I don't even know where to begin, but the big topic is around claiming our desires, and I want to share a little story about what it took to claim my desires recently when I really used a lot of pussy magic to call them in. So this tree right here, this beautiful, beautiful tree that I'm sitting by, this tree has been, I think I mentioned in a couple videos ago, the vision I've had of connecting with trees for helping all my pussy desires manifest, to say the least. So last week we ended up going to Burning Man. It was not in the plans. I've been a burner for my whole half of my adult life. Actually, I started going when I was 22 and went many years in a row, and I'm now 44. And so Burning Man has been a huge part of my life. And as of a couple years ago, I was very clear that I didn't really need to take a trek back to the playa itself, because the magic of Burning Man is so inculcated in my being that my life is actually equally as magic than the playa is. And I'd gotten a little jaded, and also going to Burning Man felt like a lot of fucking work. Like, it is a lot of work. It's no small thing to get your butt to and from Burning Man on many levels, emotionally, physically, financially, energetically, spiritually, you name it. So I like to tell everybody I was a chastity belt no on going to Burning Man this year. I was committed to going next year. I've met some really a lot of new friends. I have a lot of amazing friends that would like to go to Burning Man that never have, and I felt like next year, okay, I could plan properly. I could get it together. We can pull it together for next year. But this year, I was an absolute no. Well, one of my dear friends and investors of this amazing couples community and organization called Eden that I've been stewarding with my beloved Rano, said to us a couple weeks ago it was a really bad business decision not to go to Burning Man. And while Burning Man is not about going to drum up business, it is in fact a place where many people who would receive my offerings very well do go. It's my people. It's my tribe. But I was like, I'm not going to go to Burning Man and drum up business. That doesn't make any, it does not make sense. I mean, you're going to connect with people. Business happens. It's not like it doesn't. But I was a hard no. Like I said, I was a chastity belt no. My pussy was like, you are not going to Burning Man this year. But one of the things that my dear friend also mentioned was to really consider the fact of the magic of the playa, which indeed it is, and how quick things manifest there and how powerful things are. And so when I got back from my visit with him, back up to this beautiful land that we've been spending our summers here up at the Love Chateau in Chameau, I started looking at all the couples that I still had to connect with to discuss them coming to our event in October, our Eden event. And I started to realize that it actually would be more effort to connect with them, to stay home and be in front of my computer and attempt to get them on my calendar in the midst of them trying to go to Burning Man, than it would be to actually go to Burning Man. And that was a huge shift for me, because I realized Burning Man has felt like a lot of effort to me. And for any of you that know me well or have been watching me or following me for any length of time, know that I stand for pleasure and ease and fun and play. And I manifest my desires and dreams through the power of pussy and joy and pleasure. And if it feels like too much effort or it's really hard, and I talk a lot about this, I look at how I can reevaluate that, or I decide I'm not going to do that because it doesn't feel in the highest for me. And that's after, of course, decades of working really fucking hard to have what I want, and realizing that there's a more pussified, powerful, magical way, which is, of course, the whole reason I do these videos, the whole reason I'm a stand for the reclamation of pussy on this planet, the whole mission and message that I've been proclaiming, and the drum I've been beating, and the way I've been walking my walk and talking my talk for the last decade or so. It's a really powerful place to be, is to actually use the power of pleasure, play, and fun to have what we want without working our asses off. That doesn't mean it's not hard. It doesn't mean it's not work, but it's not the typical type of working your ass off. So I started to look at all the different couples that were on my list to connect with, and realizing that most of them would be at Burning Man, and that it would be actually a lot harder to try to connect with them without going to Burning Man. So I felt really turned on all of a sudden about the idea of going to Burning Man. Really turned on. And for those of you, again, that have watching these videos or know me, turn on is a key principle in manifesting what it is that we desire. And when we're turned on, when we're lit up, when we're feeling excited by something, we're in a more energetic frequency to manifest and attract that thing. So I started to get excited, and I couldn't believe I was actually shifting my perspective, which is, of course, a miracle. A Course in Miracles teaches that a miracle is actually a change in perspective. So I was literally starting to create a miracle for the idea for Rano and I to go to Burning Man. And it was coming from the ease, how it seemed much easier to go to Burning Man and connect with these couples, and way more magical and way more fun and playful, which is totally my mojo, than to do it the other way, which is my old way of being, which is like, lots of outreach, contacts, emails, correspondence, scheduling, right? Necessary, but not always fun. So lo and behold, I get really excited. I start to drum up the energy. I reach out and start to feel like, what would it take for us to get to Burning Man? We have our camper filled with our Burning Man gear at a friend's land. We called them up, said, would you be able to get it to Burning Man? They said, we'll make it work. We'll figure it out. I called my investor and said, right now all of our liquid cash and money is going towards this event in October. So we're probably going to need, an advance or something from you, or some support in financially making it happen. Are you willing and able? He was like, I'll support you. I'll help you make it happen. So it was like just a little bit of turn on had me actually begin to flow towards Burning Man. Now, it doesn't mean that things got easier, but things started to show up very easily. So I thought, okay, we're meant to go to Burning Man. But then the more that we evaluated it and what it would actually take to get our trailer there, and we would had to rent a car and do all this thing and blah, 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 and fly here and fly there and fly there, I started to feel, again, difficult. And I was like, as much as it feels awesome and like less effort, it's now starting to feel like effort. So Rano and I decided we're not going to go to Burning Man. But the energy was already flowing. The turn on had already happened. My pussy was already getting to be a wet yes. And even though the dryness started to kick in when I thought of the crazy amounts of logistical attention that would take in order to have it happen, it started to become like, but we said no. However, we did say, while we were in that magic, Rano and I said, the only way we'd go to Burning Man is, like, we asked, how could this be easy? Well, the easiest way would be if somebody already had an RV on site, dropped off, groceries filled, and like all we have to do is show up and everything's provided for. And we're like, great, that's the only way we'll go to Burning Man. And we kind of let it go. A day later, I shit you not, we got a text from a dear friend of ours who didn't even know that that's what we had said, sharing that another friend of ours had posted that exact offer on her wall. A friend of hers couldn't go at the last minute and decided and needed to basically get somebody to take over her tickets, her vehicle pass, her camper. It's already filled with groceries and the 2 bikes that come with it, and a camp that's all basically provided for. And we were like, oh my God, could it really be that easy? Could it really be that easy? So we said, all right, well, let's go towards it. So we reached out, found out how much it would actually cost for that, which was way beyond the budget that we didn't even have in the first place. And once again, we're like, no, it's not going to happen. No. Now, pussy doesn't really take no for an answer once she's turned on. And the truth is, we were meant to be at Burning Man. And the truth is, there was something bigger at play that was starting to happen beyond what my mind could comprehend, but my pussy knew. My pussy knew. And so even though we're like, you know what? No, too much money, not going to happen. Let's let it go. We've got a got a better plan. We'll figure it out. It doesn't have to be this hard. We're not going to go. And then 2 days later, we get another text from our friend who said, hey, nobody's taken her up on her offer. Just make an offer. Otherwise, she's going to lose all the money. So we discussed what would an offer be like. We don't want to lowball her, but what if we can really, quote unquote, feel good? It's not really what we can afford, because that was a big breakthrough. I'll get to that in a second. But so we decided we'd make an offer. And it turns out one of the reasons that they weren't going is the relationship needs some love and support. So we offered them a low dollar exchange, but with an offer for them to come to Eden and support their relationship, which is all about evolving relationship. And that felt really good and easy. But so this is the catch, right? There's this really interesting thing. There it was, desire after desire after desire was showing up. It was like, yeah, you want to go to Burning Man? Yeah, here's somebody that will help you pay for it. Here's a tribe of people that help you get your trailer there. Okay, that's not going to work. Well, here's an easy way to do it. Oh, here's somebody that actually needs support of the coupledom. And there was still a moment where I freaked out. Because I'm like, oh my God, what if we actually go to Burning Man? What does that actually mean? And even though my higher self and my pussy knew that there was something beyond me there, and I started to really I was still turned on about the idea of it, even though it scared me to death. And there it was. It was like the very thing that we thought wouldn't happen showed up and showed up again and showed up again with the resources there, because our investor wired us the money to help us make it happen. So we had actually no excuse not to. But we had to get straight with, can we receive this? Because I think a big part of when we put out our desires and we put out our pussy magic and we're in our flow is things show up, and are you willing and able to receive that when it shows up? And sometimes it shows up in a package that feels really scary. So yeah, the money was there, but that money was also allocated for other things. The ease of the opportunity was there, but is it really that easy? Like, I still had my doubts. There was just a lot happening, but what did I do? I got with my girlfriends. I have a little pussy posse. I gather with them every week, and we've been gathering for the last 4 or 5 years. I highly recommend it. And immediately when that came through, the opportunity, I was like, what do I need to look at? What do I need to face? And my dear friends, my girlfriends, helped me face it. And it was fear of being irresponsible. It was fear of, that there wouldn't be more money that would come through, which is actually quite a lie, because money is really a thing that we've all bought into. But to think that there wouldn't be any more money is not true. Like, there'll always be more money. There'll always be ways to make it up. That I know for sure. And pussy doesn't even stop to consider like the money conversation. Pussy gets what pussy desires when pussy's clear. And I know that to be true. I have lots of examples of that to be true. So I had to just move through my own human fears and what one of my past mentors calls the terror barrier. So we moved through the terror barrier and we said yes, and everything freaking flowed. Everything flowed. And we got there, and I realized, like, all the things that I was scared of that would have held me back would have set me back significantly. And instead, things were easy. We met amazing couples. We have a whole bunch of new relationships to foster. We have new possibilities for Eden. I've got new possibilities for my pussy service. And the hugest lessons for me, which I'm not going to tell you on this video, we'll save it for next video, around the topic of claiming my desires, is I realized that there was a caveat that I was, that more often, that almost always, my desires are showing up. But because of my conditioning, because of my past fears, because of the ways that I think it's supposed to look, there are so many things that I have missed saying yes to when it's been actually what I have been calling in. And that is a potent thing, because as much as I talk about pussy being able to call things in, and she's great at that, she is a huge asset in manifesting, it's only as powerful to receive those desires if we're able to receive those desires, really receive those desires. And as soon as we got on Playa, I was faced with a few other things that showed me the possibility of having what I wanted and then feeling like I didn't deserve it, or feeling like I couldn't have it, or making up some story and then pushing it away, and then having a sort of like a few unfortunate incidents happen that helped me show myself that actually, if I'm calling in my desires, I'm worthy of my desires, and it's non-negotiable to claim those desires. So if you're watching this and you're resonating with anything, please do share. I'm going to take the next video to share a lesson that I learned around where I am going to now see the places where I haven't been claiming my desires and how it shows up in my behavior, and the lesson I learned around where I had a bit of entitlement mixed up. So we're going to talk about entitlement next week, and empower you and myself to see more clearly how we can, as women, claim our desires. Not just in claiming what they are, but claiming them when they show up. So stay tuned for part 2, where I share with you that major flip of a script around entitlement that came through for me as I stepped through the terror barrier, as I claimed Burning Man, as it showed up easy as it could have fucking been. It was the easiest trip to Burning Man I've ever had. It was the most luxurious trip I've ever had. It was the least amount of investment for the most amount of return that I've ever had. And I'm still wallowing in the magic. And I'm a little bit in the dip as well. I'm a little bit like back in the reality of life and going, whoa, which is the human condition. But there's other powerful ways I also access my pussy's power to make it easy. And I hope all this makes sense to you, and I look forward to sharing more. So next week, tune in as I talk about the entitlement and the journey of actually how I got into Burning Man in under an hour, which is like unheard of on an opening night, using pussy magic. And then the lessons of entitlement, and how that also is going to help me empower my pussy magic and your pussy magic. So stay tuned, tune in. Thanks for showing up. I do these broadcasts every Tuesday at 2:22 p.m. Pacific, and I'm doing them for the sake of pussy. I hope you'll tune in. I hope you'll stay connected, and I hope it provides value for you. All right, lots of love. See you next week. Ciao.